My point is that my whole problem with the whole argument about buying a house early is that nobody talks about retirement. They say once you choose the property, once you get the home loan, and once you start servicing it, your next job is to prepay it, and that's it. And all your dreams are done. No, it's not yet done. You have still not addressed that big elephant in the room, which is retirement. You have to address it. You may not be able to invest whatever is needed for retirement for the next 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, but you should still put it on a piece of paper, a spreadsheet, and say, this is my shortfall, and I'm going to try and make up for that shortfall in future. Only when you have some kind of a plan, you can proceed.
Welcome back to week 6 of Let's Get Rich with Pattu. And this is an episode that we recorded as part 2 just last week. But the energy continues on this topic, right? Pattu, opening question as a continuation of last week's episode is, what is the true cost of buying a home? And this is a question that you've asked me to ask, and I want to know why.
Yeah, so this is something that most people don't consider when they buy a house. They say that, look, I've always wanted to buy a house. I've got the home loan. I'm servicing it, or I'm about to close it. I've closed it, and that's it. I have achieved my dream. But most people don't appreciate that there is another side to this coin. So in the previous episode, you had said that buying is about math versus emotion, and I had said it's emotion versus emotion. So let me try to explain that here. So on one side is the emotion of actually buying the house. On the other side is the emotion associated with being financially independent at the time of retirement. And I'm talking about any kind of retirement, normal retirement, early retirement, anytime, at the time when your active income stops, or more or less, most of it is not there. So it's very easy for people to become emotional about real estate purchases. But very, very few people are emotional about retiring with financial independence.
Such an interesting thought. Let me try and unpack that. By that, you mean people should be more focused and care about retirement than they are today?
Yes, that's true. But and in the present context, I would say you don't need to assume that retirement is more important than planning for retirement is more important than buying a house. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying at least bring that into the discussion. Put it on the table and say, yes, it's important to buy a house. Yes, it's important to get that home loan as soon as possible so that I can manage later on with investing. That's fine. But I must also understand that during those years when I am accumulating the down payment with cash, during those years when I'm servicing the home loan, I will not be able to invest enough for retirement. Most people will not be able to invest enough for retirement. And if they have children in the picture, then they will have to squeak in some amount of investment for their future as well. So retirement is the one which will get affected.
Let me slip in a quick question here. Sorry to break your train of thought, right? In an earlier episode, we said typically this amount for retirement should be 30 times your yearly earnings, right? In that calculation, did we cater for real estate or not at all?
Not at all.
So cool. Okay. Right. So this is a complete googly.
So
okay.
Now the thing is that now let's assume that you don't have a house, you're renting, or you have a house, whatever it is. Let's remove the renting or real estate out of the picture, and let's just do a simple retirement calculation. A ballpark calculation tells you that if your monthly expenses are, let's say, 40,000, and these are the monthly expenses that is going to persist into retirement. So I'm excluding any expenses for children. I'm excluding any expenses for you do for your parents, or any kind of loans, etc. All of them is not there. Let's say 40,000, and that's a low number. In big cities, 40,000 is a low number. If you do a calculation for that lifestyle, for that 40,000 lifestyle, only that lifestyle, I'm not taking into account any enhancement in lifestyle between now and retirement. For that 40,000 lifestyle, you will have to invest anywhere between 30 to 40,000, another 30 to 40,000
per month.
Yes.
Yikes.
So you get it now. You will have to slip in the EMI now, the rent in. You add that. So it gets loaded. So that's why I said 30%. 30% is ideal. 30% EMI, 30% expenses, 30% investing of your take home.
Okay.
That would be the well balanced, spending diet or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Anything above that, if the EMI is too much, then obviously you're going to what's going to get affected is your retirement, because it's very easy for people to get emotional about spending for their children.
Yes.
But most people, and I know only a handful of people who are very emotional about retiring happily, retiring well, financially well. And again, let me stress, it's not fire, it is not early retirement. I'm just talking about normal retirement. 55 today, normal retirement age is 55.
What do you mean, Pattu, by that? About getting emotional about regular retirement? Can you say it in another way?
So, I mean, look around, look at us, look at our parents, look at the parents of our friends, other relatives, etc. Look, are they really financially independent? So, for example, if they suddenly need a scan that costs 10,000 rupees, can they do it without batting an eyelid? Or do they have to ask their kids for the money? Or will they say, no, it's too much, I'll just live without the scan, it's okay, my time is over? So you get a spectrum of these responses.
Yes.
Very few people can handle unexpected sudden expenses after retirement from their own pocket.
There's another type of person in that category as well who can definitely afford it, but they don't want to spend on themselves. And it's a very close issue at home, right?
No,
And
I'm not talking about frugality. Frugality is a different matter. It's like saying I can take a holiday to Australia,
it's
but I just
two sides of the same coin in a way, right? I mean, I guess what you're trying to say is, but when you say be emotional about good retirement, it's what you're trying to say is treat retirement in the right way, right? Where you're ready for retirement and you're able to spend. Not only are you able to spend and you have the money, but you're also treating yourself as you should at retirement.
correct. The primary goal of retirement planning is to maintain your current lifestyle.
Yes.
I'm not saying if your current lifestyle is that you are not you're a frugal guy, then you're going to be frugal after retirement as well. But
Yes.
there could be unexpected expenses. Your car can break down, your computer can break down, your mobile can break down. So you have to get a new mobile. And if your mobile was already costing 1 lakh, you can't say I can't I'm going to get myself a feature phone now and be happy with it. That's not being, you're going to lose out on. So I'm saying,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to be when I say I am emotional about the fact that when I retire, no aspect of my life should diminish. And if something happens, I should be able to suddenly, if something happens suddenly, I should be able to meet that expense. If I want to travel somewhere, I should be able to go. If I go first class now, I should be able to fly first class then. And that's what I'm talking about being emotional. I'm saying be emotional about retirement as well.
Right.
So these are 2 or 3 things. So maybe 3 emotions. Be emotional about the house that you want to buy or live in. Be emotional about your children, the future of your children. Be emotional about your retirement. There's no math here, only emotions.
And be emotional about living in the moment and enjoying that as well.
Yeah. But so somewhere you have to squeak that in as well. It's hard. That
This
balance is hard
hard
for us. Yeah, it's very hard. It is hard. But my point is, the problem is many of us assume that that balance will occur at one point in time. It will take years to find that balance, to find some kind of contentment with, okay, this is it, I'm going to manage it. It takes time. It's not going to happen in one moment.
And coming back to Soumen's question, is there anything else you wanted to add about the true cost of buying a home? I think I kept interrupting you on that topic.
No, the true cost of buying a house is, for most people, they will not be able to invest enough for retirement. So what do you do then?
Exactly.
So in the case of Soumen, he may have to, assuming that he's still employable and he gets a handsome salary and his salary keeps increasing, he may have to postpone his fire plans by a few years. It's hard to say by how many years now. because these are projections and things can change. Suddenly the stock market can give you bumper returns, or
Yes.
suddenly you can shift from company A to company B where the salary hike is 50%. So then things become a lot more comfortable. So these things, are variable, but at least you must tell yourself, okay, a few years, maybe 5 years, ballpark. That's in case of someone, but in general, for most people, they will have to tell themselves, okay, the true cost of buying a house as soon as possible because I want it badly is that I'm not going to be able to invest enough for my long-term goals, primarily retirement. So what am I going to do about it? I'm not saying don't buy a house. I'm saying
Hmm.
bring retirement on into the table and say, I'm going to be emotional. Okay, I have now made the plans to address my first emotion about the house. I now want to be emotional about retirement. What am I going to be do about it? Am I going to increase my income, or am I going to say that I'm going to reduce my lifestyle a little bit so that I can increase a little bit more of investment? What am I going to do? Am I going to ask my spouse to increase her income, maybe go to work, whatever? So these are, personal circumstances, but that has to be done. My point is that my whole problem with the whole argument about buying a house early is that nobody talks about retirement. They say once you choose the property, once you get the home loan, and once you start servicing it, your next job is to prepay it, and that's it. And all your dreams are done. No, it's not yet done. You have still not addressed that big elephant in the room, which is retirement. You have to address it. You may not be able to invest whatever is needed for retirement for the next 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, but you should still put it on a piece of paper, a spreadsheet, and say, this is my shortfall, and I'm going to try and make up for that shortfall in future. Only when you have some kind of a plan, you can proceed.
The message is very loud and clear, and I get it now. Um, when you're looking at all the calculations of buying a home, when you're looking at the property, if you're looking at the EMI, you're looking at the down payment, it's not a complete picture until you also look at the retirement corpus and how that is getting affected. And only then can you get a holistic view. I think that is the entire point of this discussion. And Soumen, I hope we've given you enough matter to think about. I have a feeling you've already thought about this. You already have kind of the calculations
Yes.
vis-a-vis retirement and going for this additional home.
That's what
And
I like most about that question. Most people don't ask the question like that. They would have
yes,
just gone on and bought the house. But there is this other issue. Once you bring in the other issue, it stops you a little bit. And so I appreciate someone for thinking rationally about
and
it.
I have a feeling he'll feel the answer himself now that he
Correct.
has all the
Absolutely.
data.
Absolutely.
Follow your sixth sense, I guess, after all this
No,
maths has been calculated.
that's how personal finance works. The answers are not outside. You have to look within. I keep telling people, shut yourself out, no distractions, like we said in the first episode, probably. Talk about what is it that you want to do and how am I going to address it. Once you talk about all the pros and cons of what you want, I think the solution will present itself, like you said.
Now, treating real estate as a home versus treating real estate as an investment, a hugely different topic, right? How would you start to answer that? Has real estate been a good investment? Forget it being a home in the last, say, 20 years, and will it continue to be in the next 20 years? And then some follow up questions after that, Pattu.
So, has real estate been a good investment? That is in the past tense. Is an I really can't answer that because there's no data. So I would say, like they usually say, it depends. For
Right.
some people, it has worked out very well. For some people, it is not. I know many cases. I have a real estate return calculator where you put in all the numbers, the expenses, etc., etc. For some people, the returns have been very good, double digits, 15%, 20%, whatever. For some people, it has been less than 10%, 7, 8%. So it depends on the location. It depends on the kind of forces that have been in play when they try to sell the house or buy the property or whatever it is. So I really don't know. And most of the evidence that we have today in social media that real estate is allegedly a good investment is anecdotal. It's somebody
Exactly. Yeah.
saying, I have done this. I had a property 20 years ago. I sold it today and it has grown 15x, 20x. All of that is anecdotal. That's not something that you're going to that's not going to be your experience. So, and also if you look at the rental yields, that is the total rental income per year divided by the property cost, that's like 2 to 3%.
Minuscule. Yeah.
Minuscule. I mean, you're not going to get anything. You can just take that amount and put it in a bank, and you will get just that much without maintenance issues and everything. So, and in terms of rental income, yeah, it's really a bad idea to buy real estate, and also it's a hassle. You have to maintain the property,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and somebody, there can be litigation if you have tenants. The tenants have strong rights. Unless you have done the paperwork, everything legally in place, getting a tenant out can be a
Oh,
problem.
absolutely. I mean, there's no other way apart from the 11th month leave and license. That's the only way to do it.
So, so it's a issue. So I would say, yes, be emotional about that one house that you want to live in, and forget about any other real estate purchase. Don't buy it.
Great. Just to throw more weight behind what Pattu's saying is, for example, if you own a 1 CR home, in Bombay, you can rent it out for, say, 30,000, right? But if you invest that 1 CR, you 30 grand multiplied by 12 months is 3 lakh 60. But that 1 CR is going to get you much more than 3 lakh 60 per year, even in a simple fixed deposit, right?
Yeah, it depends on a lot of things, but yes, generally, in terms of if you take into account the hassle of maintaining the property, etc., yeah, it's a better investment.
Which leads me to the very next question, Pattu, about this new, well, it's not that new, but it's becoming a thing, which is REITs or real estate investment opportunities. What do you have to say about that? Is this something you've looked into? What is the past few years saying about these REITs? Is it some? It is pretty much a mutual fund that you can invest even 1,000 rupees per month in, right?
Yeah, so it's basically a crowdsourced kind of real estate investment. The thing is, we don't really have enough data to understand the risks. That's one. They are not as transparent as a normal equity or a debt mutual fund is. And the biggest downside is that they have to distribute, if I'm not wrong, 90% of their income that they get as dividends, different forms of interest payment, etc., to the unit holders. So it doesn't grow. Unlike in a equity mutual fund, if you choose the growth option,
the company decides whether it's giving a dividend or not.
Yeah, no. If you choose the growth option, no dividends are given.
Acha, mutual funds is what you're talking about. Yeah, I was talking
so
about stocks.
in the case of REITs, yeah, stocks are different. You have
Yeah.
no choice about the dividend. In the case of REITs or InvITs, 90% of it has to be distributed. So and then you have to pay tax on that. So if you actually look at it as an investment for a long term, it is not really a growth investment. It's more of an income investment.
Very interesting. Nobody's ever put it to me that way. So, and has there been a track record of these returns?
Only a few years. Only a
Right.
few years. And so it's very little in terms of. So again, it's anecdotal. People will say since inception it has given 10%, 12%, but that since inception is just 2-3 years. So we have to wait for a few cycles for us to know how the returns fluctuate, and this has not been the case. So what I would recommend is young people who are far away from retirement should never touch these REITs and InvITs, because they are income distribution kind of products, and you don't want your income. You want money to grow in an investment. You don't want it handed back to you.
Absolutely.
It makes no sense. And then you have to pay tax on it and reinvest that again and so on. So it's just going to cut into your growth. But retirees who are well off, who have enough corpus and who can afford to diversify a little bit, can consider this. So it will be one source of income which may fluctuate, but they don't care. They have other sources. It's really going to not make a difference to them. So only for them, I would say it's suitable.
So well put. You get nothing but the truth here on Let's Get Rich with Pattu. So to try and summarize this entire 2-episode topic on real estate, don't buy it for investment is what we are saying. But I know that's a very strong statement to make. For investment, if you're trying to rent it out, we've shown you the math. It doesn't really make sense. REITs, which is another form of investment, perhaps not for people starting out the investment journey. But if it's for a home, then we've given you all the discussion points, and make sure it's a holistic decision where you are equally emotional about your retirement as well as acquiring this really emotional topic of having your own home. Um, and that's it on this episode of Let's Get Rich with Pattu. We have a number of amazing topics floating around in our minds, such as so far on all these episodes, Pattu, it's always been about people getting salaries, which are fixed amounts per month. There is a huge gig economy. There is a huge economy of freelancers who do not have consistent earnings every month. Sometimes they earn really high, sometimes they earn really low. And how does the investing world look for people like that? Another topic is how to deep dive into and analyze a particular stock, because I would say 99% of people invest in stocks on hearsay and what other people say, but not really knowing the ground realities of that stock. How do you analyze a stock? How do you deep dive into its balance sheet? How do you make your own decisions? And that joy of realizing that you have arrived at this decision on your own and therefore your money is growing would be really rewarding. These are just some topics, Pattu. We look forward to all our listeners, of course, getting in their questions because we depend on them so much. So, one final reminder: keep sending in those questions to Pattu on his Facebook as well as YouTube, us on our Instagram, that's Offspin Media Friends, and on our Facebook. And till we see you again next week, Pattu, any final words?
So look within yourself. That's all I keep saying every time. Personal finance is all about not for looking information outside, but look within yourself and find out what your needs are, and the answers will show.
And not only will the answers show, some questions might arise, and that's what Pattu is here for. So please keep sending in your questions, and we'll see you next week on Let's Get Rich with Pattu. Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye bye.